In one African village, there lived a woman whose beauty made men rich. But every man who married her mysteriously disappeared. And it all started the day an old woman gave her a strange piece of underwear and warned her never to remove it. But one night, someone did. Stick around to find out how this went about. There was once a woman so beautiful that men traveled from distant villages just to see her. But something terrifying followed every man who married her. First, they became unbelievably rich. Their farms multiplied, their businesses exploded, money flowed like water. And then they vanished. No bodies, no goodbyes, just empty houses and a woman named Sabrina. But the strangest part of this story is not the wealth, it's the warning she was given. A warning about a simple piece of underwear and what would happen if she ever removed it. Long before the rumors, before the wealth, before the disappearances, Sabrina lived a very ordinary life. She wasn't famous, she wasn't mysterious, she was just a kind village girl. She fetched water every morning, helped her mother at the market, and laughed easily with the other girls. But there was one person who mattered most to her, a young man named Okezi. They grew up together, played together, dreamed together. Everyone in the village believed one day they would marry. Even the elders said it was certain. But fate had other plans. One year, a terrible sickness spread across the village. People fell ill overnight. Many didn't survive. Sabrina was one of the few who did. But when she recovered, something had changed. Her once beautiful face was now covered in scars. The same villagers who once admired her now looked away. Children whispered, strangers stared, and slowly, even Okezi began to distance himself. Not because he was cruel, but because the world had changed, and sometimes people are weak. One morning, Okezi was gone. He had left the village to find a better life without saying goodbye. That was the day Sabrina's heart truly broke. Unable to bear the whispers, Sabrina left the village. She wandered deep into the forest. Days passed. Her food ran out. Her strength faded. Until one evening, she saw a small hut standing alone among the trees. Smoke curled from the roof. Inside lived an old woman. But this was no ordinary old woman. Her eyes were sharp, ancient, as if she had seen 1,000 secrets. She invited Sabrina inside, fed her warm food, and listened quietly to her story. When Sabrina finished, the old woman asked one question. Old woman, do you want your beauty back? Sabrina didn't even hesitate. Yes. The old woman nodded slowly. Then she began preparing something strange, burning herbs, whispering words Sabrina couldn't understand. The air grew heavy. The fire flickered wildly. And when it was over, the old woman handed Sabrina a bowl of water. Look, Sabrina stared into the water and gasped. Her scars were gone. Her skin was perfect. Her beauty was even greater than before. But then, the old woman handed her something unexpected, a simple piece of underwear. The old woman's voice suddenly became serious. Wear this every day. Sabrina nodded, but the old woman grabbed her wrist. Her eyes were intense. Listen carefully. Never remove it. Not matter what? Sabrina asked. The old woman shook her head slowly. No matter what. Then she whispered something that made Sabrina shiver. Because the day you remove it, the spirits will come to collect what they are owed. Sabrina didn't understand, but she promised anyway and returned to the village. When Sabrina walked back into the village, people stopped in their tracks. They could not believe their eyes. The girl who left scarred and broken had returned more beautiful than anyone had ever seen. Within weeks, suitors arrived, men with money, men with land, men with power. And soon, Sabrina married a wealthy trader. And that was when the first strange thing happened. Almost overnight, the trader's life changed. His goods sold faster than ever. His farms doubled. Gold filled his house. People began to whisper, Sabrina must be lucky. Maybe she brought blessings. But 3 months later, the trader disappeared. No one saw him leave. No one found his body. He was simply gone. At first, the villagers thought it was coincidence. But then Sabrina married again, and the same thing happened. Wealth, success, fortune, and then another disappearance. Years passed. 3 husbands, 4 husbands, 5, all wealthy, all gone. Now people were afraid. Some believed Sabrina was cursed. Others believed something visited her house at night, but no one dared ask. One evening, a traveler arrived in the village. He was well-dressed, confident, clearly successful. It was Okezi. He had spent years traveling and building his fortune, but when he saw Sabrina again, he was stunned. She was breathtaking, even more beautiful than before. And despite the rumors, his old feelings returned. Soon, Okezi asked her to marry him, and Sabrina said yes. At first, everything was perfect. Okezi's wealth multiplied faster than ever, but he noticed something strange. Sabrina never removed the underwear. Not when bathing, not when sleeping, never. Curiosity slowly became suspicion. What could she possibly be hiding? One night, while Sabrina slept, Okezi decided to find out, and that decision would change everything. Slowly, carefully, he pulled the cloth away, and what he saw froze his blood. Beneath it, Sabrina's skin was covered in dark, shimmering scales, and the moment the cloth came off, her body began to transform. Her eyes turned black, her beauty twisted, and something ancient woke up. The underwear was never ordinary. It was a seal, a lock holding back a powerful spirit. A spirit that brought wealth to Sabrina's husband, but demanded payment. Every man who married her had unknowingly given his life, and now the seal was broken. The spirit was free. But something unexpected happened. The spirit stopped. It looked at Okezi and hesitated, because Okezi had loved Sabrina before the beauty, before the magic, before the curse. For the first time, the spirit had no power. The curse shattered. The scales disappeared. Sabrina collapsed. Her beauty faded. She returned to her original self, scarred, human, free. The wealth vanished. The gold turned to dust. The mansion disappeared. Only Sabrina and Okezi remained. Okezi looked at her and smiled, because the girl he loved was never the beauty. It had always been her heart. And this time, he stayed. And that is the story of Sabrina, the woman whose beauty brought wealth, fear, and disappearance. But in the end, love broke the curse.